As you can see from the title, this video is going to be a little different. Back in 2024, I had asked all you to ask me questions in my YouTube community page. I thought since it's a new year now, answering some questions would be fun. Kind of get to know more about the fish on your screen. Another neat thing I'll be doing in this video is trying out these Arrtx acrylic markers. Some amazing folks from Arrtx sent me some cool new markers to test out, so I thought we'd doodle today while I answer questions. And of course talk about the markers. So I got two boxes here, one with 36 markers and one with 48 markers. The colors overlap, so the 48 pack has just a couple extra colors than the 36 one. If we open one up, they have extra marker tips and the whole array of markers. They're all labeled too, with instructions on the side. And the other box is the same. Extra tips and lots of markers. I'll be testing a couple of them out right here. I shook up the markers like the instructions say, and then pressed them down over and over again until the ink flows out. Nice and thick paint. They seem good to go. So let's actually start drawing and answering your questions. Sea Lime Soup 7966 asks, Happy New Year! For my question, I'm wondering how long have you been sculpting and do you have any professional training, classes/art school? I really love your videos and art/sculpting style, by the way. Thank you! Happy New Year! Technically, I would say I've sculpted since I was 11, 12 years old. Not well. I wanted to try making tiny little polymer clay charms. I wish I had some of my old clay creations, but I think they're all in the trash. Since I was so bad at it, I quit. It was around 2020-ish maybe that I wanted to get back into it. So to answer your question, I sculpted for a brief time when I was a kid, and from 2020 till now. As for your second question, yes, I did go to art school, but not for sculpting. I majored in game art, did a lot of character designing, 3D modeling, which I guess is sorta related. I did take one fine arts sculpture class. That let me play around with a bunch of mediums like metal and soapstone carving. Oh, and I did eventually start making tiny charms again. And earrings. These photos are from my clay Instagram, @salmonfishsculpts. Over the years of practicing, I got more confident in sculpting. Then this channel happened and I started sculpting much bigger projects. Fewy Bomb asked, Happy New Year! I was wondering where your whole salmon sona comes from. Are you a big fish fan? From a fellow fish enjoyer. I love this question. It's pretty simple. One of my best friends from childhood used to call me Salmon because my name is Sam, and I love reverse mermaids. I thought they were so funny, so I designed this little fishy. Another reason is my favorite animal is a grizzly bear. They eat salmon, and I also love eating salmon. It's my favorite fish to eat, actually. There are many different reasons as to why I resonate with salmon as a name now. Okay, my footage got cut off, but I added these two final fishies to the page. Now let's start coloring. SidGirl5 asks, Happy New Year's! Also, do you have any creative hobbies outside of sculpting? I'm pretty sure we've seen you do some digital art sketches before, and I was wondering if there was more. So I got a lot of questions asking about what other hobbies I have and what other art-related things I've done. I've done a lot. I hobby hop like crazy. I just love trying new things and then never doing it again. Sewing? Not for me. Crocheting and knitting? Was fun for a year and then I gave up. I sadly still have a whole bin of yarn I haven't touched. I woodworked for a couple weeks. I'm not very good at it. I did pottery for a year. I actually enjoyed it. I wish I could get back into it again, but I don't have the time or energy. I used to draw every day. I loved rendering and coloring, but I think I hit a wall with my art and just stopped. If you want to see my old art, it's @salmonfishu on Instagram. I don't post there anymore because I don't draw like that anymore. I've done some animation. I don't like animation because I don't have the patience, but I learned enough to be able to do simple things like this. And I know how to 3D model. I just despise it. Not the process. 3D modeling is actually pretty fun. I just hate forgetting to save and Maya/ZBrush decides to crash on me like 50 times. I'm sorry, I rambled on so much. If there's one thing I might want to try, maybe whittling. I did a little bit of balsa wood carving in high school, but I've always wanted to try whittling a tougher piece of wood. It looks fun and dangerous. Okay, about these markers. I love the feel of them. I've used acrylic markers before, but I've always had trouble with coverage, especially when I think the paint is dry but it's actually not, and then I smudge everything. But with these, I'm actually quite impressed with how fast these markers dry, and how smooth and even the paint comes out. Like I said before, the paint is thick and nice, just the way I want my paint to be. Lady Ida No 16 asks, how did you learn to sculpt so well? And do you have any recommendations for beginners? I learned to sculpt by, and I hate to say this, everyone hates hearing it, practicing a lot. I was so bad at the beginning. I just kept making things whenever I had inspiration, and before I knew it, I improved and I hadn't even realized. Maybe a piece of advice I'd give is to sculpt something you're invested in. Something you like and are inspired to make. Don't force yourself to make something you don't want to, because you're not going to have the drive to perfect it, especially with sculpting. If you really care about what you're making, you'll find errors to fix so it can fit to your standards. For more technical advice, try making turnarounds of whatever you're making before you sculpt. Side view, back view, all of that. It'll help you reference what it's supposed to look like from all sides. Man, layering with these Arrtx markers comes so easy. I love how opaque the colors come out on top of each other. I know I'm not exactly layering too much, but like the fins on the face, the accessories, the clothing. Like I said, it's opaque and it's nice. Everything you need is already in the marker, so you don't have to keep mixing new colors. And if I need to reuse a color again, it's pretty easy to just shake it up and it flows perfectly for the next round of use. Andy Panda Bear 1 asks, what's your skincare routine? Your hands are very smooth and I'm jealous. I'm shocked to hear this because I think my hands are at their most crustiest when I'm sculpting. I have to constantly wash them between breaks so they get really dried out. But thanks for saying that. That makes me feel better that even at their crustiest, they don't look too bad. For skincare, I put on some hand lotion if I remember to, but I usually don't do anything to them. Eo Nova asks, favorite Pokemon or favorite evolution? My favorite Pokemon is the Dedenne. I have the Dedenne merch scattered all around my room. I love that little gerbil so much. It's been my favorite ever since I went into Pokemon X and Y blind and encountered one in the wild. I instantly got cuteness aggression and had to catch it. My favorite evolution is Flareon because it looks like the fluffiest one to cuddle, and that's what matters to me. I like all the evolutions, but Flareon is just so poofy and has so much fur. It's probably a perfect heater too because it's a fire type. Sammy Jagan asks, Happy New Year to you as well. The question I wanted to ask is, what's your favorite way to relax or de-stress? My favorite way to de-stress is either play video games or read fanfiction. Different ones depending on my mood. Another thing I like to do is eat. Eating is a sacred time where I can relish in good food. I wanted to add for those who are asking about the materials I use for my projects, I have the materials listed in the descriptions of my videos. I don't really mention them much, but yeah, no worries, I have them down there. This is where I started outlining with a fine line black pen that I had. I don't know if it was a good idea. It might have looked better without the outlines, but I decided to outline it for some reason. Alexandria Rose asks, are you into anime? If so, what are some of your favorites? Or currently watching? I do like anime. My two favorite anime are One Piece and Haikyuu, but some good ones I've enjoyed lately are Kaiju Number 8 and Windbreaker. Some other ones I like are Zombieland Saga, Ya Boy Kongming, Heaven's Design Team. I do recommend those are very fun. Jake Jack Dude asks, if time and material costs weren't an issue, what is a big project you would love to make? Love your videos, by the way. Thank you. My biggest issue would probably be space. I wouldn't know where to put this, but I would love to sculpt an entire island. Like those intricate train sets people have. Something akin to Animal Crossing where there are cute little shops and houses all around. Parks and museums. Maybe even an amusement park. I would also sculpt little custom villagers for the island, and the island would be sweets themed. It seems crazy and impossible, but I think that'd be so much fun. That's like a dream though. Probably won't ever happen, but that's the answer to your question. I added eye shinies, and head shinies, and lots of shinies. Bianca Books _A9 asks, what clay do you think is the best for beginners? What's a good drink you like for the mornings? And what are you excited for in 2025? Colored Sculpey clay is nice. That's what I started using when I was a beginner, and something I still use because I like it so much. It helps that the clays are pre-colored so I don't have to paint them. For my favorite morning drink? In the past I would probably say coffee, but nowadays I'm pretty boring. I just drink water. Here's your reminder to drink water. Have you drank any water today? Get to it. I occasionally let myself indulge in bubble tea, but I wouldn't consider that a morning drink. For 2025, I'm just excited to make more art and see how far I can go in my sculpting journey. And with my YouTube channel. I've been having so much fun making art videos, and I'm also so encouraged by all the support. I hope you follow me into 2025 to see what comes next. I think this will be the last question of the video. I know there were more that I couldn't get to, but this was as much as I could fit in the video before my throat gets sore. I have spoken so much. Back to my fishy drawing. I randomly started adding more colors to the background because it kind of felt empty back there. I also wanted to include as many of the Arrtx marker colors as possible. They were all so pretty, so I couldn't resist. I just filled in the gaps as best as I could and went very random with my color placement. As I continue coloring this, the paint is so rich and vibrant. Like every one that I'm using for this background just comes out exactly like how I imagined them. Though I end up changing the neon yellow to a different yellow because it was a little too bright for the drawing and stood out too much. But I still love the neon. When I want a neon paint marker, that's exactly how neon I want it to be. Anyway, here's the final product. Forgive me if it's not the best looking drawing. I haven't drawn traditionally in years. I'm very rusty. But it was nice to pick up a pencil and markers again. I would have adored these markers as a kid, drawing all over the place. My parents used to let me make art on the walls, so this would have been the perfect markers for that. Thank you to Arrtx for sending me these markers and letting me try them out. I'm gonna have the link for the markers down in my description for anyone who wants to try them out for themselves. Maybe you can doodle a fish too. And thank you for watching. I really enjoyed answering these questions. Sorry some of my answers are really long-winded, but I had a lot to say. I'll get back to sculpting in the next video, so stay tuned.
Bye-bye.